Live at the door. All right. All right, you're good. You go inside. Good morning. I am again blessed and lucky to be able to talk to a bunch of people in this scene. And two of them have made this cool journey from me knowing them a little bit before they started passing the threshold between going from fan to becoming a part of industry is not really the right word, but into like this thing. I have Michael and Kim from Reply Guy Records. So what's up?
Hello.
Hi.
So let's kind of just dive the fuck right into it. First of all, it's a beautiful little morning. Michael is up before 11, everyone. I just want to make sure that everyone understands this. This is a huge moment for all of us.
Yes, me waking up early is nuts, so.
So let's kind of just everything kind of from what I know about Reply Guy Records, it kind of started it via DIY Discord.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Let's just go through the story. Go, y'all go for it.
Okay, so I don't know. We were can I swear on here?
Yes, please fucking swear.
Okay. We were just bullshitting around in Discord, and I had wanted to make tapes for a while because I found there were a lot of like really small bands that didn't have any physical media out. And actually it was Robo Pumpkin. So Robo Pumpkin, I wanted tapes really bad. And I remember like jokingly asking Alex Chillwave, like, will you guys make Robo Pumpkin tapes? And he said, we can't right now. And I was like, I just want to start my own label so I can do this. So I remember saying in the Discord, like, hey, if I started a label, who would want to help me with it? And we got a couple people, and Michael and Nick, and I was like, well, what would we call it? And I think I jokingly said Reply Guy Records, and that's the name that stuck. So
it's pretty indicative of like the whole like idea of y'all's journey specifically. Like,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was a reply guy on Twitter. I mean,
As was I. I was the exact same thing.
right? Like, I'm nobody. Like, I'm not in a band. I'm not a musician. I didn't really like know a lot of people before I started using Twitter. So I pretty much like got where I am right now just from interacting with people on Twitter. So I mean, essentially, yeah, I was a reply guy, and I felt like it was kind of. I know that reply guy has like some negative connotations attached to it, but it was nothing like I don't know, all in good fun.
yeah, but I mean,
But
there's something interesting about like the negative connotation comes from like it's just because you're a fan. Like you're a fan
right,
first.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
and that I think that is, your through line to this is that, hey, this is fans coming together to help other bands. Like that, I think that's like the shining north star of like why I love Reply Guy Records is because it's you're coming from this places. No, we're fans first. And
yeah,
and that is like, I don't know, when y'all reached out to us to do the 95 tapes and you wanted to do, I've just watched y'all do, it's funny. I don't want to say that y'all aren't business minded. It's the fact that y'all are, the way that it's conveyed is through the music side first. Then it is like, well, we have to have something this quarter and we need to have something this month. Like there's none of that. It's just y'all are just having fun and like really just supporting bands.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the point.
That's
Um,
100% the point, yeah.
yeah, like I mean, we haven't really done any releases since what was it, February? So we kind of like slowed down with the releases at the end of last year. And yeah, I don't like the idea of being under pressure, like, oh, we have to have a release like these many releases a year or anything like that. Because I never wanted it to be anything like that. I wanted it to be just like I wanted to exist so that bands who like maybe couldn't afford or didn't have the time to make their own tapes, like take a little bit of that off of them and like give them the opportunity to be able to have physical media out there. Because I mean, a lot of people that listen to those bands, they want physical media, and like tapes are, they're affordable, you know, they're affordable for us, they're affordable for fans. So I thought that was like a really good way to go.
Yeah, I love it. I think that there's something just like uh actually here, the transition from going from fan to being a part of this thing. What were the things that you wanted to make sure that you kind of conveyed? And what are the things that y'all wanted to like make sure that you didn't slip up on? What were like the little, you built the house around yourself. What rules did you give yourself?
Well, like personally, so I know like my goal was I never wanted to take bands solely on whether or not I knew we would sell a lot of tapes.
Yeah.
So that part, like, I never wanted that to matter. I didn't want it to be like, oh, like you don't have that many monthly listeners and you don't pull a big crowd, so we're not going to make tapes for you. Like, that was, I feel like my mission was to take bands that, you know, like give them a chance, even if we weren't going to sell any tapes. I think was my biggest thing. And I think, other than that, I mean, my goal with it was, yeah, just to, uh, you know, provide tapes for them. And I don't know. I feel like we don't really have many rules, you
Yeah, we
know,
don't have very
make
many
sure
rules. I
we
think
just, yeah, we just find like, you know, people reach out to us and, yeah, we do it if we can, you know?
I I think for me personally, one of the biggest things is like it's not a rule necessarily, but something that's just really cool about it is like music is an art form, right? At the end of the day, you as a band are creating art. You get once you even if it's a tape, a vinyl, a CD, whatever, you're holding your art. I think that's the best. That's like the most important thing for me is like as a band, you can't afford to do physical media. Some bands can, so it's like oh, we just these people made tapes for us. Hey, we're actually holding what we made in our hands. It's not a Spotify link or an Apple Music link or whatever. It's like, hey, this is our shit. This is fucking dope. Like that's I don't know. That's the biggest thing for me personally.
I think you kind of nailed the kind of finals. There's a lot of final moments of like, or at least like periods at the end of the sentence where you feel like you've reached the next level. And there's finishing your first song, finding your first band member, finding your last band member, playing your first show, like all of these like milestones. And one of them is like holding, you know, the first time that you've seen the alchemical process go from digital to physical. And so like being able to say, "Hey, I want you to experience this milestone," from the concept of just I love you guys and I want you to have this moment and just to let bands have that moment from kind of just kindness first, fans first. It's remarkable. It's such a fun. It's just so cool that y'all wanted to do this and are finding success in it and finding like that this is fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 100%.
Yeah, I love that. You know, I love being able to, you know, provide that for bands too, you know, because I know I've never made music. I don't know like what it's like to be a musician, but I feel like if I was, I would be really thrilled to have physical media, you know. So,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've never been an artist or a band, but
Mhm.
like just from hearing what friends of mine and people have known and told me about it, it's like it's a big deal. So it's like
Mhm.
it's really cool just to be able to hit that milestone with them, like you said, Christy. So
Yeah,
want y'all to be able to see my shirt.
yeah.
Oh, the townie
we're
city.
both.
We're matching.
I'm obsessed. I love so now that you have ventured into kind of a different space, and that you're sharing an old space of being a fan and also being into the quote unquote industry side of this, where you get to participate with bands in a different level. Are your listening habits changing? Are the things that you're involved with online and the way that you are a listener and a reader and involvement of this scene, has that changed because you are now more involved and seeing more of the totem pole of kind of the whole space?
I feel like, okay, I don't think my listening habits have changed because I was already finding all of my bands on Twitter. So basically just from like, recommendations from other people. People like retweet or recommend like, hey, listen to this band, or a band will say like, listen to our friends, they're putting out new music. I was already going down that path when we started the label. So now it's like I keep an eye on if people are releasing new music. Um, I've talked to like a few bands like this past month, both like bands that don't exist yet and bands that are putting out new music. I don't know if they're going to do tapes with us, but I just kind of like let them know, hey, like we will do tapes for you. I'd be interested in doing this.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like a lot of it, yeah, it really hasn't changed just because like I've built like relationships with a lot of people over time as it is. And then, like I Swallow Ghosts was our first release. And I feel like, yeah, I kind of like became friends with them like through that whole process, which is cool. Like they're great. We just went and saw them back in October, like drove all the way to Ohio to see them. So, um, but yeah, I feel like it was a kind of like seamless transition because we already had like an existing relationship with the DIY scene and with a lot of these bands. So, yeah.
That's cool. What
Yeah,
about you? What about you,
I don't
Michael?
know, I don't know if mine have necessarily changed. So I'm a little different in the aspect. I go to, so now living in Philly, there is a emo show almost every single night somewhere at some bar, some club or something. Like for instance, last week, Motion Sick, shout out those boys. Love
Hell
those
yeah.
boys to death. They were in Philly. We saw them play. Got to meet some new bands that I hadn't heard of before that were also very sick. And it's just it's like that. Like I kind of go to shows and like talk to people. People sometimes have seen me on Twitter. Sometimes they're like, "Who are you?" And then it's like, "Oh, well, I know these people." And it's kind of like a networking thing more so for me,
Hmm.
where people are like, "Oh, I know who you are from Twitter. I've seen your Twitter account." I'm like, "Oh
Hmm.
yeah, well." So I wouldn't say my listen habits have changed. I kind of am the person who will be like, I'll hear about it, and then sometimes I forget to listen to it because I get stuck into the same like five bands that I listen to constantly.
Yeah,
But then I
sure.
will go to a show. I will go to a show and I'll see bands and then I'll be like, okay, this band rips. Like, and then immediately in my head, the gears start turning of like, oh, okay, can we do tapes? Should we talk to these people? Who's the
Yeah,
point
that's
of
what I'm
contact?
talking
Who?
about. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's like there's now this, because you've carved this new path, right?
Hmm.
Where it's now something that you're allowed to walk on. Like
Yeah.
so, where there's this kind of thing where like, yeah, you're in, when you're in this space, um, you have to carve out the space of your own. You're in the brush, you're in the forest. And so if when you walk along those new paths, that is where I feel like, you know, everything just kind of opens up. And does it feel like that things are easier to want to do more things? Like now that you know that you can do this and you've carved this new path for yourself and it's easy to do and it's there's moments of like almost levity of like, oh this is just this thing that we do now. Are there more things that you either want to do, or does it make you feel like less scared to try new things?
Um,
Yeah, okay. So I was surprised when our first band like agreed to do tapes because I didn't know how it was gonna turn out. I didn't know people were gonna like be on board with this. So yeah, like after we got the first like few bands set up, I mean, I realized like all you have to do is ask, like tell people. Like, so yeah, I do think about that a lot. Like if I hear something I really like, or like I know, if somebody like sends me a song, they're like, "Hey, check this out. Like I just wrote this." I'm like, "Hey, if you put this out, like we can do tapes for you." So that is like a thought I have in the back of my mind when I'm like talking to people, especially like if they mention that they're putting new music out. Um, I feel like that's how we have like gotten a lot of our bands. We started off really, the first few bands we did were friends, like it was I Swallow Ghost, Cacophony Kid, and 95 Corolla were our first releases. Yeah. So I'm so happy we got to put that out. And I have a copy of it on tape. I have a copy of it on vinyl. And yeah, I love
It,
that. So
it'll never feel weird. It'll never not be weird just to hear it. It's just very, very strange. My relationship to the whole thing is just it's just very weird. The parasocialness and the fact that it exists and that people listen to 95 will always be weird to me. But I want to know because of some people when they want, a lot of people are all talk. A lot of people end up like not doing things because of like the fear of it, or at least the visual like parallax of how they feel that the size of the mountain is in order to climb a new thing is there's like, oh, I have to do this and then I have to do this, and like the mountains seem bigger and bigger, but the more that you walk closer and closer to it, it's just these aren't mountains, they're hills. And there's kind of like, once you start doing something like this, has this like, again, that alchemical transition between going from fan to working to this thing, has that spilled over into any other parts of your life where you feel like that you're more fearless about trying new things? I mean, Michael, you just up and going to Philly, like kind of feels like
from
part
Ohio.
of that. From fuck, well,
Yeah.
also, well, I
From
mean,
From Portland.
Yeah,
from Portland to Ohio to fucking like there's like, I feel like
I've lived a lot in the last year for real. Yeah, it's I don't yeah, I'm not scared of many things. I like have anxiety sometimes, but it's like afterwards I'm like, okay, fuck it, whatever. Like I'm just hanging out. I'll talk to anybody, all so it's like it definitely has helped. But also a weird thing to kind of get into it. Like my day job, I talk to people so much anyway that it gives me very good communication skills. So like that's just where I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm not really scared. Like I'm like, let's do it. Like I remember, which we'll plug it later, but like the shirts we did, I was just like, oh yeah, let's get these done. Like let's go. Like people are like, these are a hot commodity. Like I already figured like people were just like, oh, this is hilarious. Like I need one of these shirts now. And so I was like, yeah, why not? They're shirts are not cheap as a band. You probably know it's not a cheap thing to do.
no.
But especially if you want them printed on like very nice material, like we did comfort colors because
It's
we
the
want the
best
best of the
one.
best.
I had to go with the good quality.
Shout out Comfort Covers. Please sponsor this podcast.
Please.
Please, I swear to
Get us
God.
more shirts.
But yeah, no, I enjoy taking a little bit of a risk. Really like I have some very long-term goals like in my own mind that I eventually really hope to get to one day. Um Obviously, you know, doing more bands, doing more releases, it's a lot of it's like funding stuff, but like, one day I wish that we could be like a counterintuitive or like something like that where we're still helping all of our friends' bands and doing all of that kind of stuff, but also at the same time, we're just doing stuff that's really cool. Like, obviously it's hella expensive and it's a dream down the line, but like vinyl, like I would love to do a vinyl one day. I would love to just be able to have like a whole catalog. Somebody that I respect and look up to a lot is this is a little weird for Kim probably, but is Alex. I looked up to everything that Alex did with Choave Records since I met him in 2016 on Twitter and Corey stream. I also thank Corey from Frito. He is one of the reasons I'm in this whole thing. Is his band has like pushed me to do things. Me knowing him has like that's how I know Kim. Is she commented on a free throw post to join the DIY Discord.
That is how we met.
And I clicked the
insane,
link.
though.
And I clicked the link and I was like, what the heck is this?
Was that
I
your
was like,
first Discord experience?
music related, yes.
Okay, cool.
That was my first, or well, I guess I was in like Corey Stream Discord, but that really doesn't count. Like people
Yeah,
would talk
sure.
about music stuff in there, but not really. But like that was like, oh, there's a bunch of people who like all these bands that I knew, but I didn't know any of these people. So that was a kind of a random little
Oh,
backstory there, but
no, here, what is like so on the creative end for you, Michael? You said you had a bunch of stuff that's like the things that you want to do. Obviously, like there's more stuff that you want to do. Reply Guy Records, like the kind of the sky's the limit in that way. I think that's for both of you. You have your ethos, you have exactly kind of what you want to do. But for you, Michael, specifically, what other things creative do you like? Now that you know that you can do this, what are the things that you like 5 years from now hope to accomplish, like even by yourself in this stuff that you love?
um, man, I really don't know. Like, still travel. Eventually one day I would like to like be in like the scene in some point, like not a music person, but like a TM experience or like a show
Mm-hmm.
booker, a promoter, something like that. That's like a big goal of mine. Try to find a venue. If I had the money in the world, I would be renting out a building right now and booking shows.
Mm-hmm.
Some person that's been actually I've been talking to a lot about this experience is Cam from Sour City Tapes. Cam from Sour City, he's the one who designed our most recent shirt. He
Mm-hmm.
co-released our Schemo tape release with us. Cam's a huge promoter in Western Massachusetts. He's has a very lockdown in that area, and I hope to do what he does one day. Like he just was a same thing as us. Like Cam would be a great person to have on this podcast. Just by the way,
I'd love to.
he was also a fan first and then eventually started making tapes and shirts, and now he books shows all over Western Mass. So it's like that. Those are the sort of things I would love to do. I would love to like work in some realm of that, promoting shows, booking shows, maybe going out and being a TM on a small tour, like things like that. Like I would love to do that down the line. That's like a goal of mine. But on like a personal level, like my Twitch channel, I'd love to grow my Twitch channel. I just have to do it more. I love interacting with people. I love playing games and drinking silly little beers with on stream and getting a little cooked on stream, but that's always fun. So
What about you, Kim? Like the next 5 years, obviously, your journey through this is has been fascinating. Not only are you like, uh, you have been such a fan, and then you going into this, I see you like your next 5 years, with this reply guy thing, and even your other creative endeavors. Like, where do you see yourself? Like, by 2030, what does it look like for you?
Okay, honestly, like it's more of a dream than anything because we all know how the economy is.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Um,
It's okay. We'll just say that
we're
right
fucked.
real quick. Really
We're
cool.
fucked. But Alex and I, we've talked a lot about having a house venue. And that's like the thought of owning a house, it feels pretty out of reach right now, but I think that's something if I had the means, that's where I would want to see myself in 5 years. We actually just went to the last Goblin Zone last night, and that was shout out Kiefer for throwing that. That was amazing. Um, but like going to that, being able to go to that space, it really meant a lot to a lot of people. And I think that's something that we would absolutely love to do. It's just the barrier is owning a house. But other than that, I kind of the same as Michael, like I've always been interested in like things like promoting. I don't know about tour management, but those are always things that have been in the back of my mind. Like since I've joined the scene, something I would be interested in. Yeah, like trying to network for bands. I don't do it like that often, but like I've helped bands like find venues or find places to play, find other bands to play with. And that's something I would really love to do. I just don't really know how to like go about that. Like I work, full time. I volunteer at a DIY venue a couple times a month, and I work at another venue. I starting back in May. I took like a little time off, but so yeah, I'm like pretty busy, and obviously, like we all know, a lot of like music stuff doesn't pay. It doesn't pay the bills.
Hmm.
Like people, you can't be in this for money because the money isn't really there to support like your whole lifestyle. So I think it's hard, like being able to do that kind of stuff and also like having to support myself, you know. But yeah, those are the things I would like to do though.
Hell
Hopefully
yeah.
in 5 years we'll still be, making tapes for bands and still be going strong.
I think that it's everyone's goals here. I think it's just I love talking to people that have climbed their first like what they thought was a mountain was actually a hill. Because there's this thing of like they kind of springboard into a lot more things. And it's really cool to watch people stop being scared of themselves and of like things that could go wrong, and you just start like moving forward into the space, or in spaces of their own choosing. Like, oh, everyone. I think it's about like when you do this thing, you kind of you get like a little pin on your lapel, like it's you kind of get to walk around and go, well, I did that. I feel, really comfortable that, people can see me if they know who I am. They know I'm wearing this pin. And it's not like a pin of accomplishment. It's like it's a self thing of like, well, I know that I did it, and people know that I've done this, and now I'm less scared to try more things. Is there anything outside of music where you feel like now that you've done this stuff, oh, I think I can climb these mountains now?
Oh, I think a lot of things. I mean, just like I've had a lot of experiences where I've done things that I was like afraid to do and like actually like did it and like accomplished it. But yeah, I mean any like little decisions I make in life, I struggle with anxiety really bad. And even just like simple things like accomplishing a task, it's like, I don't know, I feel like the more you do things that scare you, the more you realize like it's going to be okay. And even if it doesn't work out, like you're still going to be okay. There's still an opportunity to like go on and like try something else and not necessarily fail. And yeah, I think that the label really did like show me like you don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be like somebody that's super well known or like have a ton of friends or like I don't know. Like I started off like I knew nobody. And now I look at myself and I'm like we're actually doing this. Like we're not anything huge, but like I don't know. I mean, we've sold out multiple tape runs. Like people buy our stuff. That's like it's crazy to me. I didn't really like think it was going to be that successful and I wanted to do it anyway. And I think that that's the point. It's like you don't always know how it's going to turn out and it's like worth a try because you really like you only get one life. And
Right.
if you don't try to do the things that scare you, like what are you doing? You never know if you're going to like actually accomplish what you're looking for if you don't try. So yeah, it made me realize that like we could do this and it made me a lot less nervous about like reaching out to people too because we've had this many bands say yes. Like, what's the point of not asking just because you're scared, So, I mean, yeah, we got where we were basically just from trying, even if we didn't know if we were gonna make it or not.
Yeah, there's just something, I think there's just, it's so inspiring to see people go through these things, especially in like a fucked up scene that this is already, where, over the last year, seeing uh shit happen to like Thumbs Up Records, and like just, weird corruption. I feel like corruption is like not the right word for all
Oh
like
no.
this the stuff that everyone's like when a label of like, or like when labels fuck up or when people fuck up, it's not like for some reason in the DIY scene, it doesn't feel like corruption. It feels like just people are just fucking up. It's just like that's all it is. And
Yeah.
so when it comes to like those moments where over the last year things, I mean, kind of the death of the DIY Discord in RIP. It's not like it's gone, but it's like this. The sine wave is, we're over the hump.
Oh, we're reviving it.
Everything comes
reviving
back. Everything comes back. Everything comes back. But there's like, there's been a lot of changes over the last year or so. And there's been a lot of stuff that are like, uh, everyone kind of is having to deal with, not only with like the economy and just like the state of music in general. What are the things that like keep y'all inspired? And I know part of my answer, like I like, Twitter and Blue Sky and everyone talking about this stuff is still like so inspiring and still like people wanting to talk, like people wanting to shit post and fucking talk about music stuff. That's still the best. But like, what keeps y'all inspired to like keep fucking doing this?
Well, because okay, we've had a lot of stuff happen in the past year, and like, but the thing is, like with the DIY Discord, people are like, "Oh, well, it died." Well, it's still there, and like we have to understand that like we are going to face challenges. Like that's life, and there's going to be people that do bad things, and we can't. I feel like we can't let that fracture us as a community because this was something that was so important to people, and and it still is. But I feel like some of the things that happened have like been really discouraging. I feel like people think, well, like if these are the people that are lurking in our scene, then like who can I trust? And I mean, it's when it comes down to it, I feel like you gotta know that not everybody is bad, and there are going to be bad people, and like the whole idea is we need to make sure that people aren't making excuses for those people. We need to make sure that they are like not welcome here anymore to keep this like safe space, but we can't like let that stuff coming to light like break us. Um so I don't know. I just remind myself like everything is still here. Like people are still making music. I mean, I've felt pretty like low because of a lot of things that have happened, and also like the DIY Discord dying off because that was like important to a lot of us, and like I've gotten really sad over it. But like I don't know. When you think about it, it's like, well, it's still here, and like we can still do what we were doing. We just have to make sure that we like stay strong as a community and remember like, this is why we're doing this. Like we want to have like a good space for people where like people don't have to worry about being uncomfortable around like their friends, and like yeah, I don't know.
It's a really strange, I think that I've been, watching this. The reason why I started the podcast is because I just thought it's like 4,000 to 6,000 people that are like involved in this and like that are on Twitter and Instagram and everything. And I feel like it's like, this is a really interesting not like super large, but like large enough where like there's a lot of people to talk to. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I started this podcast is because everyone's got like such a passion for this fucking thing. And it's kind of insane to like hear people gush about it. And it is almost it almost negatively costs everything for to be involved in this in a really strange way because the passion kind of hurts you the whole time. And like the thing that saves you is the music. So it's like this weird zero balance of like, yeah, I'm getting to, I'm at the cusp of brand new music all the time, but I have to like being involved in all this stuff is like it like costs the anxiety. It costs being involved and having to do like there's a lot of interesting, strange things that zero balance it all out. And so I'm glad that like this is the 68th episode that I've recorded, which is just crazy in itself. That there's still enough people to talk to about this, and that the fact that like I didn't even talk to you guys before this, that's how many people are involved in this thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really fucking crazy. And there's um like what would you say to yourselves before you started this thing, before you all even met each other, this or before you even knew that you wanted to do this? What would you say that is like the thing you would, be prepared for X, don't worry about Y? What were the things you would tell yourselves?
Um, I mean, that's a hard one. I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess I would say be prepared for everything to not look as it seems.
Hmm.
Because, like, again, you don't, like a lot of us, we know each other from the internet and we like trust each other. And we know that, like, not everybody on the internet is a big bad monster, like lying about who they are. Like, we've seen that firsthand that you can make like actual connections and friendships with people online, but also you don't really know people. So I think that's a big one. It's like you don't really know people. So like keep in mind that like you I'm not saying to not trust everybody because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in just not trusting people off the bat, but like I guess like always keep in that open mind that like if you see red flags in somebody or something to like pay attention to that because at the end of the day, we are all people. And, there's going to be people out there who are not looking out for everyone else's best interests. Um, so I think that, like, personally, I mean, I've felt a lot, like a great deal of disappointment in things that have happened because I put like faith in these people, and I feel like a lot of people can relate with that. So maybe like tell myself to use more caution or like not to like just like blindly trust people, I guess, or to
Hmm.
just like pay attention and
Hmm.
to just remember too, like just because you thought you knew somebody doesn't really mean, like you know everything about them. You don't know like a lot about people if you're only seeing like this like small part of what they're putting out on the internet, I guess.
There's something I like the kind of way you say that because it reminds me of like when I ask myself that question. I always wanted like I don't want to if I met myself, went back in time 5 years ago and I couldn't give anything away. Like if I was like I didn't want to change the way everything went, but like what would I say? And I would tell people to value the negative experiences and not push them away. Like
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
negative experiences are valuable. And it's like it's not going to be this thing where don't run from these moments where you're hurt.
Hmm.
And or when you see other things like happen crumble away from you. No, it's all learning, it's all valuable.
Yeah. I agree. Like I feel like, well, I don't know. And on the other hand, it's like, is trauma valuable? Like, is
Mhm.
it like essential? I mean, I don't necessarily think that. No, I don't think that we should be forced to experience trauma.
No. Mhm.
But when stuff happens, I feel like we should be taking it as a lesson in how to properly deal with these things. I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know,
because yes, 100% because the like listen, you can't like the trauma and things like that will happen. It's like,
Yeah.
yes,
but post trauma requires assessment. Post trauma
yes,
requires sitting down with the thing that happened to understand it and make sure that you're okay again post trauma.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
so it's like,
yes,
and I think that's just like I have a tendency to like, oh, something bad has happened to me, or something bad has happened to like a thing, like not even just to me, or I just watch something happen where I want to just, you know, sometimes run away from it and move forward and just like pretend like, we'll get over it. But it's like, no, this is you have to sit and like look at it, you have to actually talk to this thing and like have a discussion with it so that you can move past it like in a full fulfilled way.
yes. I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, we're getting off the fucking rails. Let me there's getting off the rails and then whatever this is. I think that there's something, I think it's just also indicative about how y'all are just with your relationships with others as well, is that, there's a lot of in music in itself, in this DIY space, in this DIT space, which I'm kind of leaning, a lot of this is becoming a lot more DIT than DIY. And I think there's some negative things about DIY now where I'm like, it's just there's a little bit of change in paradigms of like how this is all supposed to look like anyway. It's just DIY sounds better than DIT. But that's something that is very, it's very cool. Y'all are doing a bunch of really, really cool stuff. I want to, I always ask this of everyone, what's everyone's day jobs?
Oh, I'm a housekeeper and a deep cleaner at a hotel.
Fuck yeah. Oh, okay, cool. And Michael, I know what you do. You also
I also work in the hospitality industry. I have a different title now. I'm technically now known as a guest experience expert is what my title
Are you
technically
are you
is.
concierge?
So our hotel doesn't have concierge, but
Cool.
essentially we ask concierge people. So I work for an autograph collection Marriott. For people who don't know what that is,
Uh-huh.
essentially it's a hotel that's catered to like your experience more than like luxury or your stay. It's a
Cool.
very one-off random building. It's a historic building that was like a notary at one point. So the hotel I work at is like an old building from City Hall. It's just different. It's a lot of people I interact with are a lot. That's not your typical business person. It's like people who are there who are like, I play music, but I'm like going to this hotel because it's like a really cool. There's art in this hotel, and there's this, and it's like so
It's
it
like
kind of ties in.
you work in the same thing. It's like you're in DIY and then you also are in like this DIY hotel space. That's like it's like
Exactly.
this.
That's
It's
kind
a
of how it is. Like I don't
that's
have to wear a
fucking wild.
uniform. Like I don't wear a uniform. I can wear whatever I want, like business casual wise. It's just really cool. It's like very different. It's not it's corporate, but it's not corporate, which
It's
is
very
very
Philly.
weird to say. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I do for work. And that's
That's
where I'll
cool.
be later tonight.
I love that both of you are involved with that. Is there any like do you all hope like there's kind of like this thing where everyone hopes to like be in music like or be in like this kind of space for the rest of their lives. Um let's say that that was not the case, right?
Mhm.
This is something that is a hobby forever. This is something that is like this side project forever. Where do where do y'all see yourselves, would you always have one foot in this thing the whole time, or do you want both feet planted in it like 10 years from now?
Like in terms of like
Like in terms
music
of
and
like music and DIY and like
yeah, I'm always gonna have one foot in for sure. I would love to have both feet in. I would love to have a job where I can take and give it my full attention all the time. Um, I do as much as I can, like especially now I kind of don't work in the evenings as much anymore, which is crazy. I work sometimes before 11 a.m. I sometimes am working at 9 o'clock in the morning. But like that's cool. Like yesterday I worked and I was off by 5:30, so like it's awesome to be able to go catch like a random show. So it's like even when I'm working full time, hey, if there's some random show at a bar at some place in South Philly, it's like, oh, okay, this is really cool. Like these are places that like Modern Baseball played when they were a local band, or
Mhm.
the Philly scene is just to me is so diverse and important to the scene in general, like not just DIY, but the emo scene as a whole. Like that's where it's like I'm always gonna have one foot in, especially because I feel like this is the place that I really enjoy living here. So I see myself living here for a long time, and I feel like it's a great place for DIY and for my label. Like even to some DIY bands that have kind of made it to the next level now. Like one being Carly Cosgrove.
Mhm.
They're Philly people, and they're gaining that next level for sure. They were a DIY band, and now they're for sure. I just saw them the other night at the Frito show. I said hi to them. Arm's Length. They're not from Philly, but Benjamin, who's in Arm's Length, lives in Philly. It's just there's so many I'm always gonna have a foot in just because of where I live, and there's just always something going on. That was hard when I lived in Portland, hard when I kind of lived in Ohio, just because Portland, especially a lot of bands being from the Midwest, East Coast, you only go to the West Coast maybe once a year, twice a
Yeah,
year, even if you're a big band.
even like even sometimes once every other.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you're like a big, say you're like a Prince Daddy or a Frito, you're still
Mhm.
only going to the West Coast maybe twice a year
Yeah.
max. Versus you're going to the East Coast, oh, it's only a 5 hour drive. So
Mhm.
I have so many tours coming through here and that stuff. So I always enjoy meeting people, even like even if it's not even a DIY show, but like I forget where. I think I was seeing Origami Angel like last month, and some guy randomly taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Are you Reply Guy Michael?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." How do you know? How did you find me? And they're like, "The glasses and the hat are a dead
Yeah.
giveaway."
There's you kind of already look like a Wojak version of yourself. Like
Right. And so it's just that's where I'm always going to be in this a part of it here, and it's just this whole thing is so weird to me that I get recognized and people are like, "I know you from Twitter," and I'm like, I'm sorry, I know so many people on Twitter. Who are you?
yeah.
Nice to meet you. Like, not to be I don't know everybody, but there's a lot of people where it's just like I am not great with names and faces.
Well, it's strange that people know you. That's the thing. And it's like you can go around. I mean, like if I was at a show and I saw the clear glasses and green hair, I'd be like, oh my, Kim's fucking
That's
here.
Kim right there.
And,
Yep.
yeah, like
Yeah,
there's
this
it's
weekend.
like it's very like I think that there's a lot of like again weird parasocial stuff where once you start interacting into the community outside of being a fan and you start doing more stuff, there's more eyes on you, and sometimes that can get stressful, and sometimes that can get really really weird, and like being sometimes being in a band, sometimes being in this industry like that, just like sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to go out, or I hope that the someone talking to me is like super chill because maybe I'm not feeling like that fucking space right now. It there's having eyes on you teaches you a lot of things, but have you found that like as more people come up and say, hey, is that Michael, hey, is that Kim, is there kind of a moment of where you're proud of it as well?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I'm proud of it. I'm like this is cool. Like I'm nobody, but nice to meet you. Like thank you for saying hi to me. Like it's just or people will like pick my brain at a show and be like, "What's next? Like what's coming out?" And
Hmm.
I'm like things are working. We're always working behind the scenes. That's what I always say.
Hmm.
We're working behind the scenes, but I appreciate, and then people will be like, "Oh, I bought in a tape from you, or I bought in a bunch of tapes from you," and I'm like, "Oh, well, I really appreciate that. Like, thank you for supporting us and supporting the bands that we've done these with." So
It just feels
Kim's
cool.
the
Like it
Kim's
just
answer might be different, but
it's like an
I
infinite
think
people that like it's just an infinitely weird experience.
it is. And for me, I feel like it was really difficult because I was somebody that used to go to shows. Like I went to a lot of DIY shows when I was a teenager, and I kind of fell out of that. And I was going to see like mid-size bands, not like arena-size bands,
Hmm.
but like kind of in the middle there for a long time. And my thing was I would go to a show, keep to myself, and leave immediately after. And it's a really weird experience to go to a venue and have like four people come up to me and say, "Are you Kim from Twitter?"
Hmm.
Um, but I like the thing I like about it is like that's always a new connection I make.
Hmm.
And like I don't think I've ever come across a person that I've talked to that I haven't had like a good experience with. So
yeah,
it is like
same.
it's really cool to like connect with people, you know, especially like going to another city, like going to Chicago, and I had like people come up to us, like townies came and sat with Alex and I, and they were like, "Oh, are you Kim and Alex?" And I was like, "Oh, this is crazy. Like, I love this band," and they just came to me and like recognized me.
Hmm.
So like, yeah, no, it is really cool. And yeah, it was great. Tenmo and Townies, love them.
Shut up.
Love all the other bands.
Those are my loves. Shout out Townies
Yes.
and shout out Tenmo. Those are my husband bands. Like I love them just with for everything. That show I was really there are very few shows that I'm like really jealous of just because like I I love seeing everyone playing cool stuff. There's something about Nashville where like you just see that stuff all the time that you get it feels diluted and weird. Like Nashville is not the best music city when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially when you have shows like that are crazy stacked just every day. But seeing that Townies tour with what was it, Townies Garden Home in 10 Month Summer, like
And Townie's Garden Home, 10-month summer, see-through person, and Antillian.
you I mean, like there's just one. Some of them were like you see, like thankfully got to interview like everyone except for Townies, but like I love Townies, so like knowing that lineup and sometimes seeing a lineup where you're like, oh fuck, like there's like like oh
Yeah.
this is like I will always kind of choose a mixed bill over like a straight through full ass emo or all metal or all something. Like I want the perfect mixed bill. It's like a great mixed drink that you've never like you're like, oh I bet that's delicious. Like there's like there's something really like that show in itself. There's just that's so cool. It's just so cool seeing everyone talk about how lovely this whole thing is. Like there's just so much cool stuff happening all the time. And I hope that when people listen back to this episode, like people will hear and not feel scared of trying new stuff and wanting to like uh interact with people and like let's build this better community because everything fucking sucks. Like
Yep.
like that's kind of I think that when I look back 20 years from now of like one of the main reasons why I wanted to talk to everyone is just I hope that everyone wants to just connect a little bit more.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, 100%.
I agree.
I'm gonna play a song from something that y'all released. Is there any song that y'all want to play? That I mean, I can play anything.
Can we play an I Swallow Ghosts song?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Michael, are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that, yeah.
All right. How about John Cena Later?
Yeah, that's a great
cool.
one.
All right, so here's John Cena Later by I Swallow Ghosts.
Andy, you okay?
I'm fine. It's just that life is pointless and nothing matters and I'm always tired. Also, I can't sleep. I'm overeating. None of my old hobbies interest me.
$25 signed up with a smile.
That was I Swallow Ghosts. All right, Michael, Kim, y'all are the best. Thank you so much for fucking hopping on this morning.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Look forward to meeting you in person in June.
I'll see you guys in a couple of months. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. Later, Chris.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.